Now to the latest in the quest for a vaccine for coronavirus. AstraZeneca announced that medical regulators are allowing the pharmaceutical giant to resume its vaccine trials in the UK. You remember the story this week because last week the company halted the trials when a participant became sick. For more on this now, we're joined once again by our medical expert, Dr. Arnold Baskies, a good friend of ours here, joins us live. He's past chairman of the National Board of Directors of the American Cancer Society and also chair of the Global Cancer Control Advisory Council. Welcome, Dr. B.
Good morning, Stephania.
So this delay, how much do you think that it affected the vaccine trial, and what could that eventually mean for the timeline or the rollout of the vaccine?
Well, I think what we have to remember is that it was a single patient among about 13,000 patients who were in the trial who developed what turned out to be a relatively rare problem called transverse myelitis. This is an inflammation that involves the spinal cord. Now, what we have to remember is that illnesses often occur by chance in large trials, but these events get investigated out of an abundance of caution. So what happened? Outside experts were part of the review process. These experts served on an independent data and safety monitoring board. They oversee the trial, and they determine whether the condition was caused by the vaccine or was it just a chance occurrence. AstraZeneca received confirmation a few days ago from the UK's regulatory authority that it was safe to resume the clinical trial. So they have restarted the trial, and we will know shortly whether the vaccine is effective and safe. So this appears to have been a random event that occurred and not directly related to the vaccine.
So does this happen often in studies? I mean, you were just saying 13,000 people were involved in this study, but I'm just curious, does it sometimes happen where researchers have to halt a trial because somebody gets sick or suffers side effects?
That's exactly what happens in every large clinical trial. And because this trial is under such intense scrutiny on a daily basis, this made headlines. But if you look at every other vaccine trial and almost every drug trial that we've done in the world, all of them have halts that occur as a result of trying to investigate whether something that happened was directly the result of the agent that was being tested or not. And so, yes, they're up to 13,000, but they're going to get to 30,000 people. And then we'll have a better idea. But as of now, it looks like this was a random event. So we just have to be careful and cautious.
Just important there for perspective. All right, Dr. B, I have a final question here. We read a new CDC report that found that dining out may be linked to the spread of COVID-19. So where do we go from there?
A lot has been made about this one small study. The CDC published a study which reported that folks who tested positive for COVID were twice as likely to have dined out at a restaurant in the preceding 2 weeks. The study, however, is far from definitive. There are 5 very serious limitations to the CDC report, which they themselves admit at the end of that report. It's a very small sample of people. There was no differentiation between whether the people went to a bar, a restaurant, a diner, etc. The controls in this study group were not matched. The data was based on telephone interviews. Other exposures other than a restaurant were very possible, and the questioning did not differentiate between indoor and outdoor dining. But this study made headlines, and it scared a lot of people. There are other studies, by the way, done from one location that have shown no increase in positivity in COVID. And in addition, remember when people were going to the beauty salon in Georgia, and everyone said, oh my goodness, there's going to be 150 people who were exposed. Well, none of those people got COVID. So this is a study that reminds us to take a reasonable and cautious approach to how we conduct ourselves, but it is not definitive, and we really have to take it with a grain of salt.
Dr. B, this is exactly why we need to talk to you every week, just for you to put our minds at ease with this stuff and put it all into perspective. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Stephania. Go Eagles.